Good evening, guys and girls. This is our first time doing our live Q&A on YouTube, so fingers crossed everything goes well. I'm going to be doubling up between you guys right there and the computer right here when I read your comments. It's a little bit different to Instagram and how we do things there, but I am going to be here for you all. Laura Moore, hi, my 2882, evening, how are you? How are you? So, as I say, I'll be bouncing between the camera and here. This is our first one on YouTube, so everything that goes on this evening will be stored within YouTube for you to go back to as a resource afterwards. So fingers crossed we can get everything right for you and I can really help you out. Thanks, Laura. I've got to use them when I use my phone now. My eyesight's been perfect for years, but the blue light in my phone and my computer, because I spend so much time on these now, has started to really burn my eyes, which is not a good thing. But there we are. Right, what's funny about YouTube versus Instagram is I can't see myself. All I can see is your chats down the left-hand side. I can't actually see what's going on with me, so fingers crossed I'm not looking too offensive for you all, but let us see. I'm not expecting a vast amount of people on here, but we shall see. Laura Moore, yes, so the blue light that you find in computers, in phones, in televisions, it's been slowly damaging my eyes because I spend so much time emailing or I spend so much time on my computer. Now, my eyesight has always been absolutely perfect, but now when I start to get tired in the evenings, it's actually started to, according to the lady optometrist, to start to burn something at the back of my left eye. So now I have to wear these lovely specs when I'm using my phone and my computer for any length of time to try and stop that from getting even worse. But don't worry, I can't feel the burn. It just feels like my eyes are struggling half the time. So anyone tuning into this from YouTube who hasn't seen anything on Instagram over the last month, the reason I do these Q&As is to try to cut through some of the smoke and mirrors in the fitness industry, to try and give you the truth as it is, how it is, to try and give you advice and any extra help that we can give you as ultimate performance on your training, nutrition, or anything else that you need to manage, your stress, etc. So feel free to ask as many questions as you want, and I will stay on for as long as you guys keep feeding me questions. We will be recording this from start to finish, so obviously please be respectful, please be polite, and share it with anybody else that you know may find it handy. Chris Walker, good evening. Good evening. Laura Moore, question for you. Strongman exercises in the book. Any in particular? Elaborate on that one just a little bit, please, Laura. Evening, Matthew Commander. I'm going to try and switch between the camera and here as much as possible. Mark Rich, hola, hola, hola. How are you? We're going to try and keep up the live chats. This is all kind of new to me, the YouTube live chat, so bear with me. In the cardio section, it just says strongman. Laura, so try, things like sled pulls, prowler pulls, pushes, rope pulls, things like that. The key is with any amount of cardio that you do, cardio kind of sucks. We all know it kind of sucks. The important thing for you is to try and do the things that you enjoy doing. If you enjoy doing them, you kind of look forward to them, you're more likely to do them. That's the best thing I can suggest for you. With regards to strongman stuff, my favorite stuff, prowler, I say favorite, I use that term very loosely. The ones I choose to do are prowlers, sleds, both forwards and reverse, rope pulls, hammer slams, and farmer's walks. They're my go-tos. So pick the ones you want to do. Terry Hayward, evening Elliot. I just started following you and the UP team on Instagram and YouTube, etc. over the last few weeks. Loving it, finding it very supportive and informative. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. That's exactly why we did it. That's why I wanted to do these live feeds over 2018, because one of my biggest pet peeves, should we say, with the industry is that so much information is put out there purely to cause controversy and to get people talking. It's not actually out there to help you, which is ultimately why we're all in the health and fitness industry. It's there to help you. A lot of people are just throwing out these statements in order to get publicity, and it's misleading you, the general public, and often causing you problems with your training and the way you think. Hood Beat. I will try to talk slowly. Apologies, I do talk kind of fast, but often it's because I need to keep up with the questions that are coming in. They do come in. Guru, I need a gym with more space. Laura, you don't. You just need the great outdoors. The great outdoors is a beautiful place for you to train, so make the most out of it. Mozilla, prowlers equal awesome. Awesome. Also, they kind of suck, but in the best possible way. Adam Bailey. Hi, Adam. Elliot, when training beginner clients who have no previous exercise history, what resistance exercises would you say are absolutely necessary to teach, and which ones would you avoid? If I were to take someone with zero coordination, zero ability to move, no proprioceptive ability, and no real experience, I would put them on fixed weights initially. Now, Obviously, if you're trying to get something out of them, you're going to want to go for bigger movements where possible. Presses, pulls, etc. Chances are, if they've never exercised, they're going to be up across. They're going to be too strong in anterior, too weak in the posterior. So I would suggest lots of pulling and rowing movements. Obviously, general, relatively simple movements on fixed weights where all they really have to do is apply force. They don't have to apply stability. Now, once they can start feeling the movements, and they can grease the groove, as we say, once they get that movement, then you can start moving them onto, say, barbells, and then from barbells onto dumbbells. With regards to which movements I would do, your goal is always to try to get them to do the biggest movements long term, but that's going to be fairly individually specific, dependent on what kind of client you have and just where their ability is. So it's a bit of an open question. My first bit of advice would be to get them on fixed weights machines, in order to just teach them how to move and how to feel. Mark Rich, can you use a sled on grass? You can use a sled on grass, indeed. It will just slide right over it. Terry Haywood, I work with weights on different muscle groups. Each visits the gym at least 4 times per week. Thinking of adding something like CrossFit to an all-over body workout. Thoughts on CrossFit? Hi Terry, my thoughts on CrossFit are fairly famous. I'm not a fan of CrossFit for many reasons, but it also has a lot of things that it does brilliantly. Now, let me elaborate on that just a little bit. CrossFit has brought weight training to the masses like no other element of weightlifting weight training ever did. CrossFit, the work ethic of CrossFitters is second to none. The sense of community with CrossFitters is second to none. However, for me, this is where CrossFit kind of falls down, because CrossFit is irresponsible, often unprogrammed. You push a 45-year-old woman who's a mother of 4 kids and has never trained before into doing Olympic weightlifting moves within a week of starting, and you make no differentiation between her ability and an athlete's ability. There are many, many things I don't like about CrossFit. Now, if you're adamant about getting involved in CrossFit as something to do as a conditioning style addition to your training, my advice would be to do the more cardio-based workouts that you can't really get wrong. I would stay away from high-rep compound lifts where you go past failure, which is the kind of cliche that we all see with CrossFitters. And I would stay away from high-rep Olympic lifts, or even the Olympic lifts if you are not fully proficient in them. And by fully proficient, I mean fully proficient. They are technical movements. They are very risky movements, and if done incorrectly, you are going to injure yourself. Any therapists out there, you will know what I'm talking about. If you want to make money as a physical therapist, a physiotherapist, chiropractor, osteopath, anything like that, open next door to a CrossFit box and you will never be short of business. So if you're going to do it, be careful and be smart about it. Anthony Gary. Hi, Elliot. It's all skipping around. Bear with me to catch up with the questions box here. Hi, Elliot. I have a concussion. How long should I stop training for? Anthony Gary, it's a bit difficult for me to give you advice on that. That would be something for your doctor, more so than me, because he or she will know the details of your specific case. Lucas, I've watched the Thor workout. It was incredible intensity. Is every workout on that level, as it seemed like failure on each exercise? Incredible nonetheless. Should you train that way every session? Lucas, no, you shouldn't train that way every session. Now, a session like that, let's say every couple of weeks, can be really, really handy just to teach you how to work hard and push your body past the plateau or past the limit. Could you work out to that intensity every single session? No, you could not. You would pass a point of diminishing returns, so the work that the output you gave would give you far less results because you were just training too hard. Is it important to train like that every now and then? Yes, absolutely. It is, just to get that fire in you and make sure your body knows that it has to change, it has to adapt. If you were to continually train like that, your stress levels, your hormone levels of cortisol would be far, far, far too high. You don't want that. Vikash, what do you suggest for someone who can only train late night, say 9 to 10, in terms of when to eat? Vikash, I would suggest, if you can, have a light meal before and after. Split whatever your last meal is. Have some before and some after. Adam Bailey, you're welcome, Adam. No problem. Hood Beats, what's the best program for fat loss for women? What exercises do you offer to best results? Build ass and fat loss. Hood Beats, the best exercises for anybody to lose fat are big compound movements. Squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, bent over rows overhead presses. These are the ones that are the most metabolically costly. So by doing each rep, you're going to be using the maximum amount of muscle to perform that movement. Therefore, you're going to be burning the most calories. Now, with regards to the best program, there is no best program. The best program is the one that you're going to stick to long term and you're going to perform correctly and consistently. If you can put these big exercises together in something like a circuit, that can either be a vertically loaded circuit, so one exercise after the other, or even a supersetted circuit. You know, do 2 exercises, pair them together and bounce between them for a desired number of sets. That's going to be a nice, effective and very simple way of creating your own fat loss workout. Now, if you want a little bit more information on that, go onto the website upfitness.com and look for the book, The Principles of Muscle Building. This book actually allows you to learn how to create your own programs. It teaches you what we do in the kind of behind the scenes part of writing your programs, writing our clients' programs. It gives you a little bit of an insight into the UP way. Obviously, we also have the Live UP online training program, which is both a male and a female fat loss program, which we have recently released. So make sure you hit the link, go to upfitness.com, go to the online training section and check out the various programs we have sitting in there. Lucas, please can you outline the magnesium and calcium benefits and dosages? Couldn't write the notes from last week's Instagram live feed, whereas now I can watch this back to future. Okay, so magnesium, Lucas. Magnesium for me is a brilliant supplement, and one that almost everyone, you can make a pretty safe assumption of, is deficient in. Now, the best bet there is look for probably, let's say on average, to keep everything safe, look for about 300 milligrams per night, 20 to 30 minutes before bed. That's 300 milligrams per night of magnesium, about 20 to 30 minutes before bed. Now, what that's going to do, it's going to help calm your nervous system down, calm your body down, give you what you need to achieve a good natural sleep. With regards to calcium, realistically, I don't believe anyone is going to need to take in extra calcium with the amount of whey protein most of us fitness freaks take in. You probably don't need that. Vikash Stoddard, thank you. Should you always have a protein shake after a workout? Not necessarily. You don't have to have anything at all. However, is it worth having a protein shake after a workout? Absolutely, 100% yes. There is no reason why you would forego another source of great quality protein that's going to help speed up your results, it's going to help speed up your recovery, and it's going to make your training and overall diet better. So I would suggest so, yes. You don't want to be replacing day-to-day meals. You don't ever want to be replacing a meal for liquid. That's one thing to bear in mind. Your protein shake should be post-workout only. They have been engineered to be absorbed quickly in order to speed up recovery, okay? So if you are taking them in instead of having a meal and wondering why you're not getting in the shape that you want to get in, that is probably why. Any tips for keeping clients motivated? Dave Berryman, this is obviously going to sound like a bit of a pedantic answer, but the #1 way of keeping your clients motivated is results. Results, results, results. Now, how do you get results? The science and the art behind transforming somebody's body, it isn't that complicated. When I was a younger trainer, you know, I've been doing this for 10, 11 years. When I was a younger trainer, I thought it was a lot more complicated than it was. As I have grown older and slightly more wise, I've realized it is not. The difference is in how much you care about your client. How hungry are you for them to get the transformation? If you are on their case all of the time, you are breathing down their neck, you are making sure that every single thing they do, every rep they perform, everything they put in their mouth, if you are on their case and making sure they understand that it has to be in line with the goals that you and they have discussed, then they will get their results. You have to care. If you care about the results, you'll get them. Your results then, not only with the particular client, but with other clients, will motivate everybody around you and make you a very, very sought-after trainer. The best thing you can do, assess your programs, assess your clients' diets, assess your interaction with the clients, and figure out, is there anything I can be doing better to make that client believe in me? If they believe in you, you'll never have a problem with motivation. What do I have for mid-afternoon snacks and meals? Laura Moore, my meals are all pretty much meals. I don't really do snacks. I'd say anywhere between 4 and 6 meals a day. I will have red meat, white meat, fish, tons of vegetables, and nut butter, because I'm a bit of a peanut butter fiend. And then post-workout, and sometimes pre-workout, depending on how I'm feeling, I have oats as my primary source of carbs, just because that's what sits well with me. Chris Walker, great book. Bought it last week and created a new program for me this week. Awesome, Chris. Make sure you log on regularly and let us know how that's going. It is a wicked, wicked, wicked book. Obviously, Nick is letting out a few secrets here, but hopefully you can all use it to your advantage. And those of you who are personal trainers, you can use it to your advantage with your clients and help to deliver them a much better service in the long run. Lucas, in regards to cortisol, could you explain the effects on the body, if possible? Are there ways to keep it in check? Cortisol is your fight or flight hormone. So if we were still back in the day, we're sitting in our cave and suddenly a saber-toothed tiger walks through the door, our body, our adrenal glands are going to produce a massive shot of cortisol and adrenaline in order to say, right, fight or run. These are your choices. Now, the problem with that is an acute stress. This was something that is supposed to be elevated in the short term and then drop immediately after. The problem is now, these days, because of light, because of chemicals, because of fumes that we breathe in, because of toxins in food, because of our day-to-day life, our stresses, relationship stresses, you name it, the list could go on. That stress hormone is elevated chronically. Now, obviously, it's not to super adrenal, crazy fight or saber-toothed tiger levels, but it is elevated nonetheless. Now, what that does is it draws away, let's take it in the acute sense. If you were about to fight a saber-toothed tiger, it would pull blood away from your gut, etc., and it would put it into your brain, and it will put it into your arms and your legs and your muscles and say, right, get ready to fight. Now, obviously, if you're pulling blood away from your gut, etc., you're going to have diminished digestion. Your tissues start to break themselves down. Muscle protein starts to get broken down. Your body is going to become resistant to fat loss in the long term. So these effects can be quite profound if you're trying to change your body. Now, if you are looking to try and control the effects, your number one goal is to identify stressors. Find what is going on in your life that is stressing you out the most. Write it all down on a piece of paper. Get yourself a notepad and a pen. Mine's always pretty close. Write down the problems, figure out a way to address them and start taking them away. That's goal number one if you're trying to manage stress. Secondly, make sure you are getting enough sleep. Prioritize your sleep. Always, always, always. Do not sit up and watch TV. Go to bed, get some good quality sleep. Leave your phone outside of the room. Make sure the room is nice and dark. Make sure it's completely silent where possible. Get a good restful night's sleep. That's going to be a massive factor in controlling your stress. Finally, you can use adaptogenic herbs such as holy basil, rhodiola rosea. We also have our own adrenal support supplement on the website, upfitness.com. Go to the store in there and look for the adrenal support supplements we have there. These supplements minimize, they don't take away the stress, obviously, that's your job, but what they do is minimize the effects of the cortisol flushing around your body. They minimize the effects of that on your body and how you feel. So, worth hitting it from every side. What have we got next? Sure. Is it more effective to bulk up than cut or try to build muscle and lose fat simultaneously? TMPT03. I can't remember who said it, but there's quite a famous saying that says, don't try to chase two rabbits at once. Now, if you're a relative beginner or even an intermediate and you're trained correctly, you can put on a lot of muscle and you can burn fat at the same time. But to simplify that question, ideally you want to get lean and then slowly bulk up. By bulk up, I do not mean put on a ton of fat. The leaner you are, within reason, so let's say around 10%, hormonally you're in a far better position to build muscle. You have less fat, you have less aromatase, your testosterone levels are better. Therefore, not only that, you can also take in a lot more carbs. Remember, if you can take in a lot more carbs as you're leaner, you're going to have a better time building muscle. So get lean, then start to gradually build muscle by increasing calories over time. Don't go for the traditional kind of bulk and cut approach where you're either shredding up and you lose a ton of muscle, or you're eating like an absolute pig and you gain a load of fat. Vikash, where did that one go? Thank you. Can you recommend a good protein powder? Also, is there anything beneficial taken after a workout? Vikash, to start with, if you're new to taking protein powder, keep things simple. Yes, there are many things you can take post-workout, but hit one thing at a time. If you go to our website, upfitness.com, go to the online store and search pea protein, which is our awesome pea protein shake we have. The reason it is pea is because a lot of people are developing intolerances to dairy products now, and it's a fairly safe bet. It's going to be better for your digestion. We've also added probiotics, digestive enzymes, added glutamine, leucine in there, etc. So it's the perfect post-workout shake. So pop over to the store, upfitness.com, and go check that out, the pea protein. Gazman, what do you think about water fasting, as in intaking nothing but water or not drinking any water? I have this book, The Principles of Muscle Building Program. Great job, but squat often, build quad in. Yes, hood beats, squats are not going to build glutes. Anyone who tells you that squats are going to build glutes is lying to you. If you want to build glutes, your go-to exercises are a hip thrust, your rear foot elevated split squat, and a stiff leg deadlift or Romanian deadlift. Squats do not build glutes, for those of you out there, unless you're very, very lucky. Ads, do I like dragons? I actually love dragons. I would like a dragon. That would make my life very easy, and I would also look sick on a dragon. Chris Walker, suggestions for breakfast. I normally have oats, Greek yogurt, almond, and blueberries. Chris Walker, I would always suggest for 99% of people who are concerned about body composition is to stick to a more protein and fat-based breakfast rather than going straight in for the carbs. Reason being is carbs are going to help elevate serotonin, so this is why you get sleepy after a big bowl of pasta. There is an argument to suggest that fats and protein are better because it's going to give you immediate energy in the source of the fats. The protein's going to get a digestive system ticking over, and there's going to be no elevation in insulin or serotonin making you sleepy first thing in the morning. So I'll try to stick to, you know, some kind of meat source and fats, or even an omelette, something like that will be quite a good choice. Deload weight. Should you drop weight that you've been lifting, or should you still aim to hit the weight just half the volume? Exactly that. Same weight, half the volume on a deload. After switching to doing 2 or 3 body parts per session twice a week, legs, back, glutes, I'm not getting DOMs so much. Does this mean I'm not growing so much? Not necessarily. Wolf, DOMs is not necessarily a sign of a good workout. Remember, you're trying to stimulate muscle. Any change of program, you are going to feel that DOMs. You're going to feel that damage, but it is not something that you necessarily need to be feeling every single time. The best way to see if a program is still working for you, are your numbers still going up? Are you still progressing? If you're still progressing, chances are that workout is still effective and you can stick with it. Once you stop progressing, then start changing things up. How much is too much coffee? Dave, in my opinion, 2 cups should be a maximum per day, and I would only really suggest you drink it at all if you know that your adrenals are in a good place. It's a fairly safe bet with most of the clients that we work for. They're very, very busy, very, very highly stressed. I prefer to take my clients off coffee because within 2 weeks, they're feeling like $1 million. If I keep them on coffee, they have the energy fluctuations, etc. So if you're going to have it, I would suggest 1 in the morning, absolute most, no more than 2. Absolute most, no more than 2. But beats, this is why I asked you about the best movements without building quads. Better will be hip thrust, reverse lunge, Romanian deadlift, exercise engaging posterior train. Indeed. Only drinking water for weight loss. Gazman, it's a very, 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 very bad idea indeed. You need food. Your body needs nutrients, as it does need water as well. But without it, you're really going to be in a lot of trouble. Do not ever think that losing body fat, it's a case of just removing food. That's a very, very silly way of looking at it. So try to shake that notion off if you can. In regards to slowly trying to put on muscle, I've put on 2 kilos in 2.5 months. Slowly increasing calories, 100 a week. Mostly carbs, are up to 450 grams. Should I stop or continue to push carbs up until body fat increases? I would continue to try and get that food in until you start to see any fluctuations in your body fat. Absolutely, because theoretically, the more sustenance you're going to have to grow. Vikash, thank you, Lord of the Pea Protein. What burns fat faster, cardio or weights? If you were to pick one of them to do for the rest of your life and you wanted to stay lean, 100% pick weights. The reason being is that cardio, yes, it burns calories while you do it. It does not burn calories once you have finished doing it. Not only that, but if you're doing a lot of cardio, you're going to be breaking muscle tissue down more than building it up. If you're breaking muscle tissue down over time, your metabolism is going to get slower. You're going to burn a lot less fat at rest. Weight training does exactly the opposite. It builds more muscle tissue, therefore there's a greater metabolic demand to recover after the sessions, and overall, as you gain more muscle, your metabolic rate is going to increase. So absolutely 100% weights over cardio. Let's have a look. Laura, what are you tracking as markers of success? Laura, in what respect do you mean markers of success in what? In my life or with my clients? Give me a little bit more on that. My friend lost 2 stone on Slimming World but doesn't train. I need to lose weight, belly fat. Been doing this with clean eating and training. No weight loss. Taken 2 years to go from size 16 to 12. Terry, a few things here. Number 1, Slimming World. You need to get your friend off it if you care about them. Simple as that. What is essentially happening there is because the chances are there is an element of malnourishment going on. Yes, she or he will be losing weight. However, she will also be losing muscle. His or her, let's try that, metabolism will be slowing dramatically. Over time, they are going to put that weight back on. I guarantee it. You can hold me to that right here. By eating clean and training regularly, yes, potentially your weight loss will be slower, but it will be sustainable and you will stay there long term, okay? The second thing you need to make sure you're doing is do not use weight as your marker of whether you are changing. Take photos every single week. Make sure you are constantly monitoring your progress visually, because ultimately that's what's important, right? That's what you want to see. You want to wake up in the morning, you want to stand naked in front of the mirror and you want to say, wow, do you know what? I love what I see there. That's your measure. You don't really care what it says on the scale. You know, places like Slimming World has told you that that matters. It does not. Do not let a completely irrelevant number determine your feelings of self-worth. It's self-worth. It's ridiculous. We've got very dry mouth, guys, so I apologise for all of the tongue twisting I'm doing today. Measures of success with clients. Purely visual for me. I only, personally, when training clients, the only thing I track for them and their results is the images, their check-in photos. That's the only thing I personally care about, because that's what they care about, ultimately. Gazman, do you not think you can walk fast while taking vitamins to get as lean as possible for a certain amount of time, then go into weightlifting routine with a proper diet? No, Gazman, you can't, because you will destroy your digestive system. And then when you do start eating food again, calories, you're going to gain fat. It's a very, very silly idea. Dave Berryman, at UP, do you guys have clients doing transformations where you measure food or approximate portion size? Dave, the way we would usually look at that is we try and identify what we think the client is capable of. We communicate with them, we discuss with them. We will then decide, okay, should we be making them track? Are they going to work well with numbers? Or should we just be giving them ballpark figures? Some of that is going to be dependent on where they are when they come to us. But we make those decisions at that stage, depending on that position they're in the day they walk through the door. Now, obviously, beyond that, we have to take feedback. We have to look at the results. We have to look at their stress levels. We have to look at how well they are complying with what we're asking them to do. And then we can make more decisions or maybe switch them from one approach to the other based on that. Alex Bacon, I've recently switched to training first thing in the morning. What do you recommend to eat prior to this? My goal at present is to gain muscle by keeping body fat levels down. Alex, it's very, very important if you're trying to gain muscle that you are not going into the gym fasted. So this is a good question. Ideally, I would suggest something that's fairly light and something that you'll digest relatively quickly. It's not going to make you throw up. For me, that would be eggs or red meat. Something like chili beef, bolognese beef that I prepared the night before. I've actually got 1.5 kilos of it in there right now. That would be my go-to because it's already kind of half digested. And the same with eggs, it's fairly light. I can shovel in a good amount of it, then I can get off to the gym. And maybe you can throw in some oats with the eggs, something like that, just to give you a little kick and make sure you've got some muscle glycogen when you go in there. Just make sure you're not training fasted if you're trying to get in muscle. Or ever, really. Don't weight train fasted. It's probably not going to do you any good at all. The water I'm drinking. All I did, the question here is, the water that I'm drinking, they remember like put something in it, and what was it? Was it for taste or was it benefit? Was it lime? Yeah, so every day when I wake up in the morning, I've got a big juicer now. I juice about 10 lemons and limes and just put it in a jug, and then throughout the day as I'm drinking, I neck it back. Really, I could say it's for detoxification and alkalization and all this stuff. It's not, it's for taste. It just makes me drink my water better. Anything you can do to make you a bit more compliant. Thoughts on alpha GPC and CoQ10. CoQ10 is very good for anti-aging. Alpha GPC, I believe, she was using that as a pre-workout at one point. I'll have to come back to you on that and try and remind myself what they do, because I haven't used either for many years. So I'll have to come back to you on that one, Sebastian. Please tell me something about the biosignature modulation. When I see your results and alter performance in 12-week transformation, I can believe it. This is awesome. Hood Beats, what would you like to know? Be a bit more specific on that. Is it results mainly through supplements? Hood Beats, no. Results, supplements are exactly that. Supplements are supplementary to getting everything else right. They are not a priority. What supplements will help you do, if you can identify particular problem areas, supplements can help to fill those small holes. However, your number one priority at all times, 100% ahead of everything else, will always be diet. Diet is where it is at. Supplements then fill in the holes that the diet may that show up in the diet, should we say, where you are deficient, certain things that you just can't get from the food. Alex Bacon, you're welcome. Another drink. We've caught up with the questions. Thank you for being patient with this one, guys and girls. This is the first time on YouTube, so I'm still trying to figure out the interface and figuring out how everything works together, but I appreciate your patience. Anyone who's only just joining in on here, this is our live feed. We will be alternating between YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram every Wednesday at 8 PM UK time for the rest of the year. I'm just basically going to jump on here, answer your questions on health, fitness, life, dragons, whatever it may be. I will do my best to cover everything I possibly can. The idea is to cut through the smoke and the mirrors and the absolute BS that is being thrown out to you guys and the general public in the media and on social media. Right, come on, let me see it. I'll tell you what I don't like on this little chat window. It's not letting me see your questions until they're halfway up. Lucas, how often should you have a deload week, and should your daily intake stay the same as a normal week if you want to build muscle and keep body fat? Daily intake, yes. You may potentially, depending on how your body responds, sometimes want to replace a small portion of your carbs with fat, but keep the calories the same. And how often would you need it? Depends on how you're training. There are too many different training protocols that you could possibly be doing in order to decide when you need a deload. If you're doing a more strength-based 5x5, 5-3-1, something like that, then maybe every 3 to 4 weeks is good, so every 4th week. If you are doing higher volume training, you may not necessarily need it. You may not even need a deload with higher volume training. So they more just undulate between higher reps and lower reps. So play it by ear. Each one of you out there is going to have a different recovery rate, different ability to stick with programs for different lengths of time. With stuff like this, it's important to remember, especially if you're a PT, that there really is no answer. It's all about biological feedback. It's about the feedback that you are getting from your clients. If it's yourself you're training, it's feedback you're getting from yourself, your numbers on your program and how you're feeling. That's when you should decide, quite often, when you need a deload. Of course, there are various studies and this, that, and the other to say this is when you should probably do it, but is that a steadfast rule? No, it is not. Right, Sebastian, assuming the execution is perfect, how long would you maintain phase of weak body part prioritization? Train it 3 or 4 times a week. I would say maybe 3 weeks maximum, potentially, because you're going to get to a point where you're going to start breaking it down more. You're going to start helping it at that kind of volume. So 3 weeks and then come off it for a cycle, or just do a tiny little bit of maintenance, maybe once a week for a cycle. That would be my approach anyway. But again, as I've just said, there is no specific necessary approach to that. It's about trying it, see if it works, record your results. You know, if it's a case of you want to try and grow your arms, measure them, see what happens. You're going to be very different to me. I'm going to be very different to one of the other trainers in UP, for instance. So play it by ear. Experiment with yourself. Can you get strongman stuff that you can carry to a park? Of course you can, Laura. Yeah, go onto any one of a million fitness websites and they will be able to supply you with little fold-up prowlers, things like that you can slide in the back seat of your car. John Michael, you can pop out the chat window using the 3 dots at the top right of the chat. Let's try that. Pop out chat, give it a go. All right then, let's try that. Thank you for that. Nice one. Thanks, John Michael. A little YouTube pro. Gazman, how do I go from water fasting to losing as much fat as possible? Depends. If you've actually been doing something like that, then you're going to have to gradually take your food intake back up. Obviously, using clean sources and anything like that is... Obviously, someone has potentially misled you into doing something like that, so it isn't your fault. It's the whole reason I'm here. But start to gradually take your food intake back up to a point where you start losing body fat, and you will. You know, add an extra couple of meals, and then next week add an extra meal, next week add an extra meal, and you'll get to a point where your body suddenly feels comfortable, and it will start to liberate fat. Lucas, in the deload week, is this where most body composition changes happen due to the reduction in intensity, allowing the body to change, be it muscle gain or fat loss? It depends, because there's information to suggest that realistically, if you were to really hit yourself damn hard, you know, like super compensation style training, and it can be anywhere between a week and 6 weeks later that your body actually starts to change. The reality of it is, on a deload week, is you're resting, you're recovering. So the theory is that your muscles are going to get a break, your nervous system's going to get a break, and it's going to allow you to go into the next cycle with a little bit more vigor. Now, obviously, with weight training, recovery is still going to be burning calories, so in theory you should still be getting lean, but the fact is it's going to give your body a chance to recover so you can go back into your next cycle with a little more strength, etc. You can get more out of it. Hood Beats. Do you have time for individual coaching? Me personally, I do not at the moment. I don't have the time for it, but I am one of many trainers within the business. We have some incredible trainers, many, I'm sure, even better than me, who will be available. So do send a message anyway. Go onto upfitness.com, send an email through the contact form on there asking for online coaching and inquiring about online coaching. We will find out where you are, and then we will take it from there and help you out. Obviously, I will always be here as a resource. Not only that, but we run a couple of online forums as well for every single client in the UP family, and I am live on those forums every single month without fail. Okay, so you will always have access to me every single week anyway. Mark Rich, saw a Poliquin video where he says to have a pronated grip for dumbbell chest fly. Yeah, the idea is that, excuse me, another variation, but I don't know many people at all ever that have good enough shoulder integrity to do that. Would I say it's something that's worth it? You know, in a lab, in a strength lab, in Poliquin's world, things are very, very, very different to how they are in the real world with real clients, with normal people in normal gyms with many, many deficiencies and who don't have therapists on hand and people stretching them and moving them every single day. Would I recommend that you do a fully pronated grip fly? Not necessarily. If you're fairly healthy, then by all means use it as a variation. Matthew Lawrence, I've cut all carbs apart from veggies for 5 weeks now. 50% fat, 35 protein, 15 carbs. Fat loss spin minimum around the umbilical area. Yeah, I mean, at that stage, I would never really keep your carbs that low for more than 2 weeks tops. Then start reintegrating carbs. Now, how to reintegrate? Maybe add like 50 to 60 grams post-workout or before you go to bed from the second week. So I would start that tomorrow if you can. That's probably a little bit too low for you. In the deload week, you mentioned dropping carbs slightly and increasing fats to match overall calorie intake. What will that do? Just because you're doing a lower volume, you've got less demand for glycogen. You're not using as much fuel. So keep the calories up, you've got the recovery there, but you don't necessarily need that amount of carbs. What would be my approach towards a client who's clearly eating too little, even for maintenance of health, who claims he can't bear to eat more? First thing I would go to, Sebastian, is to educate them on the consequences of their actions. That is number one thing you want to do here. It's very, very important to, rather than forcing clients to do one thing or the other, it's to educate them on why what they're doing isn't necessarily the right thing. Usually that's enough to scare them into realizing what's happened. Once you have educated them on the damage that that can cause, You then find agreeable goals that you can move up with. You know, one of the easiest ways to get someone to take their calories up without making them think they're eating more food is fats. You know, tell them, right, add an olive oil dressing to that meal. Add a scoop of peanut butter to this meal. Add this, add this. Before you know it, if they're having 3 meals a day and they've added a spoonful of peanut butter to each one, their calories have just gone up by 600 at least. So educate them and then trick them into it with light foods. Mark Rich. I believe I answered that one, Mark. Yeah, the pronated fly. Would I recommend it? No, I wouldn't. For most clients, shoulder integrity is not that great, so I wouldn't do it. Michael Gilmore. How do I build muscle and continue to run 10Ks, half marathons? Michael Gilmore, what I would probably suggest with that is go for lower volume training, sort of anywhere below 8 reps, and I would eat a lot of food, and always take branched chain amino acids and carbohydrates while you are running to try and minimize any muscle loss during that time. What do I think about recomposition? This is possible only in beginners. No, not at all. It's possible with absolutely anyone. I've trained beginners, I've trained bodybuilders, I've trained people who've trained for 20 years, I've trained people who've never trained before, and I've got transformations out of every which one of them. Every possible person I could have got a transformation out of at some point during my career, I pretty much have. So no, it doesn't matter of where you are. Obviously, for some people it's going to be slightly easier, some people more challenging, but of course it's 100% possible for everybody. Nice input on this today, guys. Considering this is our first YouTube live chat, I'm very, very happy that a few of you have turned up. And we've got some good questions coming in here. It's a nice interface, and I'm getting used to it. Like it. What have we got? Anybody else? Come at me with some questions. Let's see. Let us see. One that always comes up. How much water do you drink? 4 to 6 litres for a guy, 3 to 4 litres for a girl. How long are we in now? 41 minutes. We're doing good so far. We've had endless questions for 41 minutes. It's really, really good, guys. So thank you for that. Elliot, do you education? I do my best to try and educate as many people as possible. Yes, that's the whole reason I am here. I certainly do. Thoughts on tapioca? The thought of tapioca pudding makes me wince and want to throw up. Do you know why dates for the seminars in Mayfair have been changed? I couldn't tell you. I can't pronounce your name either, so I'm going to call you Matt. I couldn't tell you why they have been changed. That may be due to some staffing difficulties or movement of trainers, so I do apologise for that. But by all means, do send an email to Mayfair and find out why that is. I can't answer that here. Do we educate personal trainers from other countries? Of course we do. You know, we run seminars, we run boot camps all over the place. We have various online resources on upfitness.com that a lot of them are aimed at personal trainers and how to improve your businesses and improve everything that you do. So absolutely 100%. Do we travel to educate? Absolutely. If there's a demand for one of us, myself or one of the other members of staff, to travel somewhere in order to help you guys, then by all means we absolutely can do that. Lucas, no problem. Thank you very much for showing up, and we will be here. Next time I'm on YouTube is going to be 3 weeks from now. Next week we'll be on Facebook, our Facebook page, so make sure you get over to there, like it, say hello, follow it, and we will be there 8 o'clock next Wednesday. Alex Bacon, what are the main principles of peri-workout nutrition? Be a bit more specific on that to fuel your workout and to optimize recovery, I guess, would be the main principles of peri-workout nutrition. Matthew, currently sat at 298 pounds. Only focusing on weight loss at the moment, but is there a target amount of pounds per week, or should I look towards a target? I wouldn't necessarily say you need to be considering weight too much. It's not a favourite of mine to constantly measure yourself off, for many, many reasons. Now, what I would suggest, if we're going to go off weight, a good one would just be to look at, let's say you can try and get a pound a week off consistently, because some weeks you're probably going to lose 3, some weeks you're probably going to lose 1, some weeks you may lose 5. Look for a target of 1 pound per week consistently. I think that would be a nice and fair target for you to aim for. Other than Nick, Poliquin, Bukowski and Purvis, who do you recommend for knowledge on all things fitness? To be fair, the only people I ever ask anything are Nick, a friend of mine, Barry Pitts, Charles, obviously Charles Poliquin, and Phil Lerney. Other than that, those are the kind of 4 that I use as a resource to constantly ask. Other people who have a lot of knowledge in the industry, I'm going to say Phil Graham. I like Phil Graham, puts out a lot of good stuff. And do you know what else I like? Not necessarily because of knowledge, but I just like the way he is and his no BS approach. I really like Jamie Alderton as well. So that would be another person I follow. Terry Hayward, these sessions and on Instant Tonight's YouTube have been so useful. Thank you. I'm very, very glad, Terry. Thank you for showing up and supporting them. No question is a stupid question yet. Of course not. No, I'm up for any question. I can take whatever you guys throw at me. When will When will be Tom 2 the book from Ultimate Performance? Say that again, Hoodbeats. I'm not really sure what you mean there. In terms of prioritising protein, carbs, fats before versus after. Protein and fats before, protein and carbs after. Would be the simplest way to put that. Protein, carbs before, protein, carbs after. Unless you are super lean, super lean already, in which case there may be a demand for protein, carbs before, protein, carbs after. John Michael Murphy, is there anything I can do with my food intake to counteract digestive issues and problems? As I'm finding regaining the weight I've lost over the last 18 months through the weightlifting. First things first there, John, is to make sure you identify what is causing problems. Now keep a journal, keep a notepad near you, and write down whatever you've just eaten or drunk, because sometimes it can be drinks or it can be combinations of food that cause bloating, swelling, discomfort. It's very, very important to understand what is causing the problem and then remove that. By removing that, you've taken the first step. You then need to look at repairing your gut, which can take time. You know, things like glutamine, probiotics, various dietary additions that can help to repair your gut. But the number one priority there is to find out what is causing the problems and remove them for a length of time. Any plans to put a UP Fitness on the right side of the Pennines? I can't imagine we will be, Terry, but there is only one person who knows that. He's about 30 kilos heavier than me and about 5 inches taller than me. Matthew, apologies. Could you re-answer my question on pounds per week as I went off line for the whole question? Matthew, I would suggest a good average that you should be aiming for is, because you know, there are going to be some weeks where you're going to drop 3 or 4 pounds. There are going to be other weeks where you only drop 1 pound. I would say a really fair goal to yourself and something to consistently aim for and strike off is 1 pound a week. If you can consistently get down that, by the end of the year, you're going to be bang on where you need to be. Always think about the long game. Don't try and drop it real quick. Providing you've got a target of £1 a week, you will get that. Make sure you're ticking it off. You're welcome, John. Not a problem at all. That's it. One more bottle down. There's some more before my mouth gets too dry. Do you do student discounts on your PT? Paul, at the moment we do not. I can't imagine that it's going to be something in the pipeline, purely because there's one thing, our one-to-one training, we know what it's worth. We understand that the value that we can give to a client is 10 times better than the average trainer. So is there a discount currently? No, there is not. Is there going to be one in the future? I don't know. If you catch Mr. Nick Mitchell on a really, really good day, then maybe, just maybe, he will snap and he will say, do you know what? Go on then. So look out for it. Following Terry's question, any plans for Ireland? I don't believe so, but again, only Mr. Nick Mitchell will know. I will try and get him on some of these live chats at some point. He's currently working his ass off in London, checking out all the UK gyms, making sure everything is going well. But at some point, I will pop over to LA and we'll try and do one of these live feeds together. I enjoy Olympic lifting and fitness work. If I'm looking to make physique development a priority, do you think I can continue with these in addition to my physique work, or is this too much volume? Depends how you do it, Dave. By all means, you need to take into account your recovery factors, sleep, nutrition, soft tissue work, etc., as your muscle actually recovering. But with a bit of intelligent programming and understanding that you need to make them work well synergistically together, then there's no reason you can't do it. You know, some of the best looking physiques I've ever seen are Olympic lifters, right? So there's a way to do it. You've just got to make sure you're being smart about it. And of course, spend so much time stretching, mobilizing, making sure your joints remain healthy. Olympic lifting is obviously, as I'm sure you know, having done it, is extremely complex. It can be extremely taxing both on the nervous system and on the joints. So make sure you are moving well where possible. Keep coming. I hope it's not putting you guys off when I'm looking at the screen trying to read your questions, but I'm trying to double up both of them. It's a little bit more continuity on Instagram because the questions come up on the actual screen. I can stare straight at it, but now we've got this running from the computer, so it's slightly different. What are we on? We've got 10 minutes left, guys. We're going to go for an hour this evening. We've got 10 minutes remaining, so do please try and get your questions in then, and I'll do my best to answer them. Remember, everything that we have gone through today is going to be on our YouTube channel. It's going to be recorded. It will be there for all of you to watch, so do not stress. If you've missed something, you can go back through and watch it again later. Alex Bacon, when estimating calorie requirements, is it necessary to calculate your BMR? And if so, how much should someone aim to gain per week? Realistically, Alex, if you're trying to gain weight, I wouldn't be thinking weekly. I would look at over a month. If you can steadily and remain lean, you can gain ½ kilo a month. I would say you're doing pretty well. But that is your average, okay? So don't be weighing yourself weekly. ½ kilo a month, if you're remaining lean, to me would be a really, really good way of looking at muscle gain, unless you're a beginner. But if you're an advanced lifter, you're not gaining much more than 5-6 kilos in a year naturally. With regards to calculating BMR, I would look at what you're eating as a maintenance. So if you know you're gaining weight now, you know, whether you're gaining it extremely quickly or you're gaining slowly, then you are above your basic need for calories. If you are not gaining weight, then the chances are whatever you're eating now on an average is your basic metabolic rate. Therefore, do you need to work it out? No, you don't. You just need to eat a little bit more. I'm a fan of TRX training. Chris Walker, do you know what? I actually quite like it because it's very, very good for staying mobile. One of the key things I think to training, and this is something I've learned as I get older and a little bit wiser, is that variation is key. I used to do every possible modality of training going, no matter what it was. I tried it. I was obsessed. And I think as I got older, I started doing less and less things. I traveled to less and less gyms. I met less and less people teaching me new skills. And I definitely think my training took a hit for it. So by all means, do it. Should it be the #1 in your training regime? No, it should not. Weight training should always be the staple of it. However, using the TRX to mobilize, keep yourself moving, and just generally be healthy, then by all means, absolutely use it. Is it better for static stretching after sessions or at the end of the evening? Paul, both, potentially. You know, if you have issues with muscle tension, then absolutely stretch post-workout and in the evenings. It can be very, very relaxing. Just spending a 10-15 minute session before you go to bed, stretching out and releasing toxins, helping yourself sleep. Liz Houlihan, how much and when is the best time to take L-Glutamine? 5, it's a bit of a broad question, that one, Liz, because glutamine is used for a lot of things. I would suggest 5 milligrams a day, 5 grams per day, and take it in your post-workout shake or in the morning with water, or potentially when you have cravings, because it will kill cravings. Elliot, I asked about the Part 2 book, Principles of Muscle Building Program Design. Do you make Tom 2 and when? I don't understand what Tom 2 is. You're going to please let me know what Tom 2 is. I don't understand what Tom 2 is. That's what I mentioned earlier. You're going to have to repeat the question, but try and make that make sense for me if you could, please. My question is in relation to 2 to 3 sessions per day. Paul Armitage. You're weight training 2 to 3 sessions per day, Paul Armitage. Answer that one for me. Terry Hayward, am I taking too many supplements? Multivitamin, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D3, get calcium in the morning, protein shake, spinach after training, magnesium, zinc before bed. Not necessarily. I would have to ask why you're taking a multivitamin, then a load of extra vitamins on top of that. Why you've decided to do that. Omega-3, I think, is a staple in every diet. Vitamin D is a staple in everyone's diet, so no, they should be there. Protein shake if you're training, absolutely. And magnesium before bed, yes. Zinc, however, I would take in the morning, not before bed. Take 20 to 30 milligrams of zinc first thing in the morning. Paul says, glutamine is an amino acid, which can be used for an awful lot of things. It's a very clever amino acid because it kind of fills the gap. If you're deficient in a lot of other stuff, or if your body is not, it doesn't have some of the amino acids it needs, glutamine will help mimic that. It can also be used for plugging holes in your digestive system. It's very, very useful for preventing muscle breakdown. It's very useful for, it's a substrate for glutathione, which is a big detoxifier in the body. So it has many, many purposes. It's a great supplement. Matthew Commander, is there any required supplements for weight loss? I wouldn't have said so, really. There are many that can be helpful, but are there any that are required? I would say no. It's very much on an individually dependent basis. Things are required if you need them personally. It's not something that is like a broad statement. This is exactly what you should be having. Of course, there are things that can speed it up and make it better, but there aren't specifics. Paul Umtage, no. Early morning runs, a swimming session, a weight session, all staggered out through the day. I would stretch after your weights and then before bed, if you want to, but mostly after your weights. Hoodbeat, sorry, volume 2 book will be out about diet. The second volume, I believe, yes. You'll have to confirm this with Nick. I believe the second volume is about diet, yes. And I understand it will be coming out sometime in June. Don't hold me to that, but it may well be coming out about June time, so keep an eye out for that. If you don't know about it, make sure you hit the post notifications on our Instagram profile so you know when it's being released, and you also sign up to the mailing list on the website, upfitness.com. Get on there to make sure you're first to know in any pre-sales so we don't run out before you get your hit of them. What do you think about wearing a corset for training? 100% one of the most idiotic things I've seen hit the fitness industry in a good few years. There's nothing else I can say to that. Nothing. God, this stuff annoys me. This is exactly why I'm on these chats. Aside from the UP book, what is your most recommended read for training? When it comes to nutrition, I would say anything that Precision Nutrition write, or we write, obviously. Precision Nutrition, John Berardi, really, really, really great resource. And with regards to the body, how it moves, what it does, I would suggest Frederick de Lavier, The Anatomy of Strength. It's an amazing book. Teaches you about the body, the muscles, how they move, and what movements you can use to optimize your training. Paul, you're welcome. No problem. We're on a 3-minute countdown, guys. 3 minutes before we go. And then I will be out of here until next Wednesday at 8 p.m. when I will be jumping on the Facebook page instead of here. But as I say, this resource is going to be here throughout the year. I will always be here. This is why I'm on these chats too, Elliot. Confirm the crap that was pushed upon us on social media. Honestly, it's painful to watch. From someone who got into this industry to try and help people, it's painful to watch what people will sell to you guys. They will prey on your desperation, prey on your naivety in the best way possible, just to make a buck, and they really don't understand the knock-on effect that has to people's mental health when they are misleading them to the point where they then feel stupid if they're not getting results when they've been sold shit, essentially. It's a real sad situation, but people can be dicks. Paul Armitage, and once you increase mass in the teardrop muscle, what's the best strategy? I'm a big fan. Squatting for your quads, lots and lots and lots and lots of squatting, Paul. Tons of squatting, varying levels, varying rep ranges, varying ranges in general. But if you want to try and drive it, a Peterson step up is also good for firing up that. So anything where you're pushing from above 90-degree knee angle. But can you really load a Peterson step up? Not that much. The first ever book, John Michael Murphy, was the 12-week body plan with Joe Warner. The second book was the Ultimate Body Plan, again with Joe Warner. Now, the third book that has just come out was The Principles of Muscle Building, which is essentially a book which breaks down how we put our programs together, and it gives you the tools you need to kind of develop your own. Dave, you're most welcome. Thank you for showing up. We are about there, guys. We've got about 45 seconds left before we are going to sign off for the evening. But I am going to use that time between now and the next question to thank you all for coming. This was the first YouTube live chat, live Q&A. I will be here every single every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. UK time. So please show up, tell your friends, share it out on social media as much as you can so we can get everybody in. There's an awful lot of people who can benefit from getting the information and having the opportunity to ask questions to a professional and to people who are not necessarily trying to sell you something. We're just trying to help you. So do make sure you let people know. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. I will see you all very, very soon. So, John Michael Murphy, Precision Nutrition. I really, really like Precision Nutrition. Well worth reading up on their resources. Very, very cool. And obviously, the amount of articles we have on our website, all of you now pop over to upfitness.com. The amount of free resources we have there, that's free workout programs, free articles, meal plan ideas, etc. up on the website. Make sure you get over there and check them out. That is always there. We are trying to update it every single day. So there's usually something new for you there. So do check that out. And I will see you all on Facebook, on our Facebook page, main page, on Wednesday, 8 o'clock. That is next week. Thank you for showing up. See you all later. Bye-bye.